Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is brought to you by Stamps.com. They're offering you a 4-week trial, free postage, and a free digital scale, all at Stamps.com. Just click that microphone and use our offer code INSIDE.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming for Tuesday.
That's right, it is Tuesday, and today's Apple news might not seem like it affects your video games, but it could. And in a huge, huge way.
Yeah, that's right, especially big digital storefronts like Steam and the Epic Games Store, and maybe even the ones run by the big console makers as well.
Yeah, imagine a future where you boot up your PS5 and have to go through 5 different landing pages and individual service apps just to launch a damn game. That's right, it might take upwards of 2 minutes to play a game.
I know our ancestors complained about diseases and not being able to make it past the age of 13 or if they were gonna have food, but this sucks.
This is awful.
You thought that garbage only happened on the PC, right? Nope, not in the grimdark future of free market competition.
All right, enough of horror stories. Lawrence, get to the story.
Okay, today's news, spoonful of sugar, because we're about to talk about the US Supreme Court. All right, so they ruled that Apple can be sued for allegedly monopolizing the app market on its iOS devices and driving up prices as a result. Yes, it is breaking news in America when a corporation can even be sued. Me, man. All right, so this comes from a suit filed by 4 iPhone users who claim that Apple has artificially raised the prices of its apps through a 30% commission that it charges developers. And of course, developers have to pay that 30%. They want to be on the App Store, considering that's the only place you can ever sell any kind of apps to iOS customers. This case isn't about whether or not Apple has abused its dominance. It's whether or not customers can even sue Apple, because this is America.
Corporations are people, Lawrence.
But apparently can't be sued sometimes.
And they don't ever pay taxes.
In an interesting legal twist, Apple argued that iPhone users are not actually its customers, despite the fact that they're paying Apple for apps.
That's not a customer?
No. Apple says that actually the app developers are their customers, since they're the ones paying Apple for a bunch of services. Apple compared itself to a mall that rents out space to individual businesses.
But I'm pretty sure if you slip and fall in a mall, you can sue the mall.
I don't know. So Apple's argument is that only app developers should be able to sue it, not iPhone users.
Yeah, but who wants to be the developer who sues Apple and then runs the risk of getting blacklisted from the App Store forever? I'm guessing nobody, right?
Nobody would ever want to do that. To boil it down, the Supreme Court said that nope, iPhone users can sue you. They are customers.
The system works.
So what'll happen now, Lawrence?
A lower court will decide whether or not Apple has a monopoly because it owns the only marketplace where apps can be sold. And that could potentially have big implications for gaming, because if a court rules that Apple does have a monopoly in this case, what does that mean for Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and the rest? They all have a similar setup where they sell a hardware platform. They also operate the only store that distributes software on that platform. At least they will soon. Lots of other gaming platforms have closed ecosystems. You can't buy a Switch game in the PlayStation Store, for example. Can't buy an Xbox One game in the Nintendo eShop, although that would be pretty cool.
I mean, Microsoft is trying to open it up a little bit.
They are.
Yeah. They're trying to put Xbox Live on the Switch and all those fun, weird things. So what about all these exclusive deals that Epic is signing? Developers do. We talk about the story every freaking week. But is that a monopoly, or is that just
Not
good
really.
old-fashioned capitalism?
Because the developers are signing have a choice. It's not like Epic Game Store is the only software distribution platform on the PC. If it were, then they could make the same call. But
They're just using piles of money to create a nice little walled garden to keep out big bad Steam or GOG or Gamefly Digital. Why don't you monster support that?
Get out of here, itch, with your free bullshit.
These are all really, really tough questions. You can see how a ruling in the Apple case might force other companies to have to open up their stores or turn them over to a third party.
And there are lots of complaints that customers have about online game stores because their policies aren't exactly consumer friendly when it comes to being able to return a pre-order, a refund, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, the EU has forced some storefronts to offer refunds on games in a limited time window, but in general, if they don't have to, they will not.
Of course not. And as for the big ol' Apple, it helped usher in the era of mobile gaming back when the first iPhone released more than a decade ago.
Bullshit. It was Snake on the Nokia.
Sure. That's the one that ushered in gaming on phones.
That was it.
It's actually profoundly changed the video game industry, Lawrence.
Yeah, mobile games brought in more than $61 billion in revenue last year.
That's unbelievable.
It's absurd. That's bigger than PC and console combined.
Holy shit.
And I know a lot of our viewers, and myself included, would say that's not gaming. But it is, man.
It is. Those are games.
I know, yeah.
Candy Crush, man.
PC made more than $35 billion last year. Consoles made $12.7 billion.
PC made more than console?
That's worldwide, and that includes like gambling shit.
China.
It's everything, yeah.
Okay.
As for Apple, its App Store is massive. Apple has said that it currently has more than 2 million apps, and it generated more than $26 billion in payments to developers in 2017.
Wow.
That's got to be more than a lot of countries' GDPs entirely. Actually, I'm curious now.
And it's not just iPhone users that have complained about Apple owning the App Store.
Yeah. Other tech companies have accused Apple of using the App Store to push its own products while blocking competitors.
Right, probably the biggest example would be this year when Spotify filed a complaint with European regulators that accused Apple of using its power over the App Store to to favor its own products like Apple Music. Come on, it's better, right, guys?
That's kind of like what Internet Explorer and Windows did when Windows was like, here's Internet Explorer, it's already installed, just use it. People ruled that you can't do that. They have to like go and download it, but you can't include it in Windows. Apple's about to get even heavier into games. Apple Arcade is set to release this fall with more than 100 exclusive games from companies like Disney, Lego, and Konami.
Obviously, Apple is going to want to sell those games under its own ecosystem, but what if a court forces it to sell under a third-party store?
Lawrence, well, what happens then?
Sorry, I'm looking up GDP.
Oh.
26. Hold on, I'm almost there.
The GDP of what countries?
That just barely beats Estonia.
All right.
Yeah, it's actually pretty far down, turns out.
I mean, a single app store beats out a country?
Yeah, several. Jamaica,
Yes.
You guys need to step it up. In Apple's case, their attorney David Frederick argued that the App Store is a uniquely walled garden when it comes to app purchases. He told the Supreme Court, quote, Apple cannot point to another e-commerce distributor that does what it does. In every other instance, there is an alternative to buying the product. So yeah, that's a reference to sideloading apps on Android. You don't have to go through the Google Play Store, even though they try to make that the default flow. But yeah, you can just tick an option and then download options and download and install whatever you want, which is what Epic Games had to use to get Fortnite on Android phones, right?
Yeah.
They were getting stonewalled a little bit by the Google Play Store, as I recall, and just like, just put it out.
They didn't want to put any money up, so they said, oh wait, we don't have to go through you?
Yeah.
You
Well,
can
then.
do whatever you want on Android.
I mean, that's the idea of competition, right? You give Google Play its cut, and then you get placement in the store, you get the official app flow. But Android has that side thing where you can just put it out on the internet and say, download it, put it on your phone.
I love these cases when they call something a monopoly when an alternative exists but no one uses it. Much like the Windows case years ago with Windows 95, like nothing else exists, and Apple's right there going, we have a computer, it works, and they're like, well, you don't count because no one uses you and you're trash.
Yeah.
Fast forward today and it's all one big joke, but that's funny when they're saying like, there's no alternative to iOS. We're all on our Google phones going like,
We're right here. Sideloading is not allowed on Apple devices. You can jailbreak them, sure, but officially that is not allowed. That's actually, I think, illegal.
yeah, the cops will knock on your door immediately after you run a little script. Don't do it, kids. So how could this affect the larger industry is the question we're asking. Well, let's say that Apple loses this case and the courts decide that it is a monopoly.
Right now, the situation isn't 100% analogous simply because you can still buy physical copies of games at GameStop or other retailers. I think you can buy Amazon codes too. Retailers can stock them and compete with each other over price and promotions. Most just follow MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price, but still the potential for competition is there.
However, consoles are moving increasingly digital. Hell, nearly every other episode of Inside Gaming Daily, we're citing some sort of statistic about how more and more games are being purchased digitally instead of physically.
There are lots of games right now that are only digital. Most of them are indies, but still.
So the question is, what happens when consoles go all digital, Lawrence?
Well, then we have a very similar situation to the iPhone right now. A company owns both the platform and the only digital marketplace to sell software on it. Since that's definitely where we're heading, it's not hard to imagine a future where console game stores get broken up too. They force them to allow multiple different marketplaces onto a console platform, or they just have to split off the e-commerce wing of Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft into its own independent company. As far as what that looks like, it's probably gonna end up being like what the PC is right now.
And everybody hates all the launchers.
Yeah, right? A lot of digital competing storefronts with the same games or various exclusives that they cut big checks to get. And that means the consumer will have to be a lot more educated about how they get their games. And since all of these companies are trying to carve out their own profits on a given platform, probably a lot more annoying marketing too. 'Cause they're all
Splash screens.
Yeah. Splash screens,
Yeah.
pop-ups, flash sales, emails. Oh, we got a flash sale!
Yeah, and again, to Lawrence's point, just look at the PC. When you pop open Uplay, Origin, the Epic Game Store, GOG Galaxy, Steam, or the Discord Game Store now.
I've got them all.
Oh man, that service will try to market to you as many times as possible before letting you play the damn game that you paid for.
Yeah, it's really annoying, actually. Basically, more competition is great.
It really is.
That's part of capitalism, but it translates to more independent parties all desperately clawing for your video game dollar. Better deals for those who want to search for them, but in exchange, the console experience could look more like a flea market in the future.
Or the dollar store. I don't know, Dollar Tree, that's good.
Oh.
Yeah, 20 games for $1. We'll throw in some off-brand cereals. That's more like Humble Bundle.
I don't care what you guys say, man. Marshmallow Mateys is better than Lucky Charms anyway. And you get a nice bag.
Marshmallow Mateys?
Yeah.
You ever eat those?
It's literally the bottom shelf.
It is all the way down.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you gotta like move a box aside to find it.
Look, the truth is it all tastes like chalk, but if you have a nice little stereotypical leprechaun on there, it makes it better.
And it's filled with like refined sugar that gives you cancer.
Yep.
I'm just letting you know.
Riboflavin.
If it's good enough for the kids, it's good enough for me.
Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is brought to you by Stamps.com. This is an online service that helps you do everything related to postage without having to leave your house or apartment. And again, that's the Inside Gaming way. Staying inside, handling all your affairs, conquering video games nonstop. And given the aspect of today's episode, I recommend that you probably dabble in physical games as long as you can. Can't return a digital game, but you sure as hell can sell a physical one. And Stamps.com can help you do that. Maybe you got a lot of clutter around the house. Maybe you got some old video games you don't gonna play anymore. Stamps.com, man. You can sell them online, buy postage, schedule a pickup. You don't even have to put on pants. You might need to, unless you know, are into your postman that way. Post lady, who knows? It's a new world out there. You can do whatever you want. Stamps.com not only will pick up your packages, but it'll deliver unto you love. And that's the real gamer's delight, isn't it? Love brings the world together. Stamps.com will give you all that and more. Also, we have a promo package for you guys. Stamps.com is offering all of you guys a 4-week free trial, free postage, and a free digital scale. Imagine all the things you could weigh. It's pretty much everything. All your dreams and more will come true at Stamps.com. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone, and use our offer code INSIDE. Once more, that's a 4-week free trial, free postage, and a free digital scale. Mail things the Inside Gaming way. Find true love. Use Stamps.com. Thank you for the sponsorship.
Those are like 4 megabytes. I can't do that. So it's another subscription service because we all need one more of those in our lives, right?
Yeah, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, the new Disney streaming service, Pornhub Premium. Pornhub Premium? Do people pay for Pornhub?
You gotta support the artists.
Brian, tell them more about the Apple service.
So to tempt you to try it out, they are touting a hand-picked